And what we found in krill, and this is not necessarily to beat up krill, but what we found was a lot of toxins and pollutants. We found an astounding amount of arsenic in here, 5 times the amount that's allowed in drinking water. And we found a lot of these other PCDs and PVDs, and all these are organopesticides and petroleum waste products. Why? Because in spite of the fact that they tell you it's a small organism and it lives in a clean environment called the Antarctic Ocean, the oceans are dirty everywhere, folks. I'm sorry, they just are. So is fresh water. There ain't no clean water left. The point being here is that krill has probably not got a lot of toxins per animal, but you got to squeeze a lot of little shrimpies into that capsule. So a little times a lot is still a lot. And this could be an all-natural fish oil product too. It could be somebody who line catches it, whacks them over the head, squeezes their livers, and gets the fish oil out of it. And we actually are doing that study now on a very famous brand, and we're not going to name names here because I'm not about destroying people's businesses or careers. But the whole message to take from this is the oceans are dirty. And so I clean things up because nobody can tell me what happens to 50 or 60 or 120 or 130 years of taking even a small amount of toxin. There is no long-term accumulation studies. It's all short-term. Okay. You are safe with any reasonable diet as long as you don't ignore the elephant in the room. Whether you are a raw food vegan or a vegetarian or a paleolith, there are a couple holes in your diet, especially if you're over 40. Who's between 40 and 60? Lots of you, okay. You guys are in the golden and critical window of opportunity to intervene in your aging process. Natural selection and evolution doesn't care about you anymore. It doesn't hate you, it doesn't love you. It loves you until you have reached childbearing age, and then when you pass through that, it doesn't care. But you have, the good news is you have good genetics, good enough, or you wouldn't be at 40, because, 1,000 years ago, or even a couple hundred years ago, people didn't make it past 40 for all kinds of reasons. So you folks have the genetics to live longer. If you take control of those genetics, you can intervene. If you're over 60, get real aggressive. Because we didn't know a lot of this stuff before, and you could be like those people who say, I eat healthy and I'm active, but you're missing something. You can do a lot more, and you got to be aggressive if you're over 60, guaranteed. Because I've seen lots of telomere length tests and lots of omega-3 tests, and it goes down, and it goes down on its own. So what else goes down? All right, sorry. Carnosine levels, they go down. Carnosine is 2 amino acids bound together. It's a potent antioxidant. In extremely high non-human doses, it may actually turn on the longevity gene, but you'll be puking your guts out before you can even get there. Ask me how I know. Human guinea pig here, folks. It's anti-cancer, anti-glycation, and also mitochondrial support, improved fat and energy metabolism. Key feature, it must be the 2 amino acids stuck together, and you must take a gram. You meat eaters, okay? 250 milligrams of carnosine per a big steak. That's 4 steaks at once. Most of you aren't going to do that. You need to overwhelm the degradation enzyme so you don't break those 2 amino acids in half, and then you just have 2 amino acids that become building blocks. Carnosine, the two together, has pharmacologic type activity. Next, CoQ. Everybody can benefit from this, especially as you get older. The absorption of CoQ goes down. It has to be the reduced form. Who knows the difference between ubiquinone and ubiquinol? Some of you do, okay. It's a reduced form that's necessary. Now, my carnosine is vegetarian-sourced capsule, vegetarian-sourced carnosine. It can be done, and I did it. My CoQ is vegetarian source, but the capsule is an animal source, and it's a soft gel, and you have to protect CoQ. It's a much bigger molecule, and it gets attacked by stomach acid and intestinal acid, and carnosine doesn't. So the soft gel technology to deliver this to the vegans is not there yet. I'm working on it, okay? 100 to 200 milligrams a day, again, very strong telomere preservation. All right. Fish oil we talked about, and we talked about some of the other antioxidants. These come up a lot. Vitamin D3. Don't know. Some people say it's telomerase activator. I sent it. I've tested it. It didn't. It wasn't. I test everything, folks. I send all the supplements and all the competitor supplements and everybody that makes a claim on the market. I send them to Sierra Sciences, the fellow Bill Andrews I showed you. That's all he does. He's looking for the next big telomerase activator. And he tests everything for me. And he looks for telomerase activation and telomerase inhibition. And so far, the only thing that works is this small astragalus-derived molecule known as TA65. Number 2, astragalus itself and all the astragalus preparations on the market, the teas, the astragaloside IV, the astragenols, I've sent them all, astral fruit, sentinel, no telomerase activity. Doesn't mean they're bad antioxidants, it just means that they shouldn't be selling them as telomerase activators because they're not. Milk thistle, good liver detoxant, but Who knows? Lots more. There's a lot of stuff out there that claims to be telomerase activation again. None of these came back positive. Glutathione, everyone knows glutathione. How many take glutathione? Okay, are you taking one of the magic MLM guarded things that gets into your intracellular? Okay, in my opinion, and I don't want to put anybody down, but in my opinion, the only way to take glutathione is either intravenously or through the skin, palmitoyl glutathione. And that's what I recommend if you're going to do it. Transcutaneous works. Now, N-acetylcysteine, which is relatively cheap and highly available, works fine to raise glutathione levels. Multivitamins, if they have the right antioxidants, specifically a multivitamin with green tea, may lengthen your telomeres. Sorry, I misspoke. May shorten the loss of telomeres, slow down the loss. Nothing lengthens them but TA65. Okay, now let's turn the telomerase gene on. All right, you guys still with me? Was this interesting to anybody? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for paying attention this long. There's a lot of science, man. I mean, we went from Woodstock to, nanoparticulate whatever inside the cell here. So now we're going to find out what happens. I just told you over and over and over again, we can stop aging, we stop aging. Let's take a look. Reminder, telomerase, main function is to lengthen telomeres. It's alive and well in your germ cells. It's alive and well in some of your stem cells. It's turned off in the rest of you, which we call the somatic cells. We be soma. I'm a soma, you're a soma. You're a zygote, sorry. Or was that you? Oh, you're the zygote. Yeah. All right, you could be a soma. Soma is everything else. It's turned off there. Let's turn it on. Let's turn on telomerase. Okay, now I've been told this slide is ineffective. No one can look at this mouse and say which one is the older mouse and the younger mouse, so I'm going to help you, okay? There's something about mouse, just pretend they're people, okay? Mice are people too. Let's go over here. Okay, is gray hair a sign of aging? Okay, that's a gray-haired mouse, that's a brown-haired mouse. Some of you might get the sense that there's some bald spots on this mouse. It's not real clear, but they're there, take my word. Is balding a sign of aging? Okay. Notice this little pudginess. We talked about pudgy Eskimos. Well, this is the pudgy mouse study, okay? Here's see how pudgy that mouse is and how nice and lean that mouse is? How young and juicy that mouse is? All right. What is truncal obesity a sign of aging? Yes. Does it age you faster if you're heavy? Okay, so which mouse is the old mouse? Top one. Brown mouse at the bottom, leaner, full head of hair. Looks happier if you ask me. Doesn't look as this mouse looks like terrified because he knows that pretty soon he's going to the mouse guillotine. I know. I didn't run this study. By the way, this study is 13 years old, just so you know. This is not new. We've been doing this for a while. All right, next slide. And let me just tell you, the mice are the same age. These mice are the same age. What happens when you turn on the telomere? Make the telomerase go and lengthen those telomeres? You get younger if you're a mouse and if you're a person. Okay. The old telomerase deficient mouse has shorter telomeres. It's key. Shorter telomeres equals aging. Longer telomeres equals youth. And I'll show that in people soon. Weakened immune system, reduced spleen size. These are all immune things. Decreased wound healing. That's all immunity. Immunosenescence, an immune system that cannot mount a proper response to heal or clean up the damage. Intestinal atrophy. Anybody know what leaky gut syndrome is? You ever hear that? Okay, leaky gut. Oh, lots of people have that, folks. And then decreased lifespan. Now, Dr. DePino, who was originally doing this study, redid this study about 4 months ago, turned up the telomerase even more, and not only stopped the mice from aging, he made them younger. He made them younger than they were when he started this study. Phenotypically, which means appearance and behavior, and genotypically, which means genetics. The genetic expression was a young mouse. Okay? They got longer. What happens in human cell lines? We now have human cell lines where we turn on telomerase that have 1,000 divisions. Normally they die at about 120. They go into immunosenescence or they go into apoptosis. Let me tell you what those two are. I said immunosenescence, excuse me. They go into cellular senescence, replicative senescence. Apoptosis is an explosion, an auto-suicide. The cell blows up from the inside out. Now, it's not real hard to imagine that if you blow something up, it's going to do some collateral damage. If you spontaneously, you watch Spinal Tap? You know the movie Spontaneous? If you spontaneously combust, you know, you're going to take some people with you. I promise you won't. You're grounded. So it doesn't matter. You're grounded. It won't happen. But the point is, you know, you could be a little green blob of jelly, and lots of people would go with you. Okay, that's apoptosis. What we didn't know, remember inflammation is one of the big three? The big three forces of aging, earth, wind, and fire, the big three. Okay, inflammation's a big one. Everybody thinks it's diet, and it is, but there's something called static activation. When a cell goes into replicative senescence and it stops reproducing, it puts itself into park, but it jams on the gas pedal. And those mitochondrial powerhouses start cranking out free radicals, and they leak into the surrounding cellular milieu. I love that word. They leak out, and it's not a whole lot different than the explosion. It's a little slower, but they do collateral damage. What's the point? Aging is an inflammatory process. Aging and static activation is responsible for a lot of the inflammation in your body. As you get older, you naturally inflame. It happens, and you see it in your hormones. It's not just what you eat. It's not just omega-3s, although those are huge. But it is also the fact that you age, and aging turns on the inflammatory process by this process known as apoptosis or static activation. And it does collateral damage. For those of you who watch the History Channel, this is the B-52 carpet bomb instead of the cruise missile. Okay? But the point is that you understand that aging accelerates inflammation, which creates a vicious cycle. So even if you do all those wonderful things and have great genetics and eat all the great foods and sleep, you're still going to get to the point where things are going to go south unless you turn on telomerase. Okay, so let's do that. Let's take a look. Here's human skin. When it's young, you can see it's young and juicy. When it gets old, it gets thin, and you can't really see it very well from that picture, but the top layer is the keratin layer. It gets crusty. Ever see anybody, you know the term crusty old person? Okay, well, it does. It gets crusty. Now, this is 95-year-old human skin in a study done 11 years ago by Walter Funk, same people doing all these studies. And Walter turned on telomerase, and that's what he got. Back to 25. Turned it on. Yeah, I know, we all do. Here's the important, good question. Telomerase-based creams don't work. It's a bad way to deliver the TA65 molecule. They tried it, and they're testing it, and they're still trying to figure out, and they haven't perfected it, and I doubt they will. It is much better to turn on telomerase in all of your cells from the inside out, and you'll turn it on in the skin cells too. And that way, then the next cloud from Japan comes that you didn't anticipate and you didn't know, you'll have a suit of armor protecting your telomeres and your DNA against these crazy things that are happening that we don't know. We don't know when that's going to happen. So don't try to just do it through the skin. Do it from the inside out. This is inside out, folks. Remember, the book Success is an Inside Job, or Longevity is an Inside Job. Okay? Gene chips. Okay, this unfortunately somehow is not the slide I wanted. There we go, and there we go. All right, now, all the way over on your left, okay, and your left is young gene chip. In the middle is old gene chip, okay? Now you can see the difference, can you not? Okay, the colors are different. You got a lot more dark purple colors. When you turn on telomerase in that old skin, remember I said the words genotypic and phenotypic? Okay, this is genotypic. These are the genes that are expressed. When you turn on telomerase, you revert the gene expression back to youth. You make the cells young, and they read all the genes that are associated with youth, and they reverse the genes that are associated with aging. Okay. You guys get the significance of that? It's pretty important. Yeah. How about it? Yeah. See, the shaman was right. You can reprogram your DNA.